Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So for our group 4, we will explain about forms of corolla and aestivation. So let's go through what is corolla. So corolla is the second accessory whorl of a flower, and the individual member of this whorl are called petal. A small basal section called the claw and higher enlarged piece called the limb make up each petals. Okay. For Corolla ni dia adalah second accessory whorl of a flower, and individual member dia, ahli dia punya component dia adalah kita panggil petal. So untuk yang boleh tengok kat diagram ni, dekat part bawah dia kita boleh tengok kita panggil claw, and the enlarged ataupun bahagian yang besar ni kita panggil limb. Okay. The petals can be polypetalous, unattached ataupun tidak bercantum, or gamopetalous, dia attached atau united, or dia bercantum, and actinomorphic, regular, or zygomorphic, irregular. So there are 4 forms of corolla, which are actinomorphic and polypetalous, actinomorphic and gamopetalous, zygomorphic and polypetalous, lastly zygomorphic and gamopetalous. So for the first form, we go through actinomorphic and polypetalous. So for this form, there are 3 types of it, which is, for example, cruciform. So cruciform, 4 petals make up the corolla. The petals are free. For example, we can take Raphanus, has petals that are organized in the form of a cross, and each petal has its own claw and limbs. So for this type, boleh tengok kat diagram ni, petals dia free, maksudnya unattached, that's why we call it polypetalous. And as you can see, the structure dia almost like a cross structure. Okay, and each petals ni, setiap satu petals ni dia ada claw and limb dia tersendiri to make up the corolla. So next is caryophyllaceous. The corolla consists of 5 free petals with comparatively long claws. The anthers, for example, has claws and limbs that are more or less perpendicular to one another. Okay, untuk type ni, caryophyllaceous, dia ada 5 petals lah, comparatively. Dia ada long claws kalau dibandingkan dengan cruciform. Okay. And lastly is rosaceous. So the claws on the petals are very small or non-existent, while the limbs are large and more spread out. There could be 5 or more petals. Rosa, for example, also the petals are free. So untuk rosaceous ni, dia berbeza dengan caryophyllaceous and cruciform kerana the petals, the claw, yang bahagian bawah, part bawah tu, dia very small, sangat kecil, ataupun dia non-existent, dia tak wujud. Tapi dia punya bahagian limb spread out and besar. And boleh jadi petals ni dia ada 5, dia ada 5 atau lebih. So contohnya kita boleh ambil rosa lah, and dia punya petals ni free ataupun dia unattached, tidak bercantum lah to each other. So next is actinomorphic and gamopetalous. So in this form, there are 4 types. Okay, first one we go through campanulate or bell shape. So the petals of a campanulate or bell shape corolla are joined, and the corolla resemble a bell, as in cucurbita. So untuk this type, boleh tengok kat diagram tu, dia berbentuk bell lah. Okay. So next is tubular. When the petals merge together to form a short cylindrical tube-like structure with little lobes, as in Tegetes disc florets, the corolla is said to be tubular. For example, kita boleh ambil marigold. So at the diagram you can see there is a long cylinder, short cylinder tube-like structure. Itu yang membezakan, itu yang menjadikan dia tubular. So next is rotate or wheel shape. So the corolla tube is relatively short and the limbs are stretched out at a right angle to it. Solanum melongena, for example, has a corolla that resembles as a wheel. So corolla ni dia kecil and limbs dia stretch out, maksudnya dia mengembang keluar lah. Okay. And for the last one is salver shape. Okay, the corolla is similar to that of the rotate type, but the tip is longer and thinner, and the lobes are more widely spaced, as in vinca or periwinkle. So salver shape ni, dia punya structure almost like a wheel, but dia punya tube dia tu lagi panjang daripada rotate type. And dia punya lobe dia tu pun lagi wide lah, space dia.
Zygomorphic and polypetalous. 5 free petals make up the corolla. The standard of vexillum is the largest and most prominent petal. The wing are the 2 lateral petals, while the keel or cornea is the boot-shaped structure formed by 2 innermost petals. The keel is made up of the tiniest petal. The papilionaceous corolla has a butterfly-like look, for example, pisum, which is P.
So, untuk zygomorphic and gamopetalous ni, dia ada 3 jenis. So, the first one is bilobate or tulips. Second one is personate or mask. And the third one is ligulate or strap shape. So, untuk bilobate or tulips ni, the corolla resembles the appearance of 2 mouse lips. So, the top and bottom half of the corolla lips referred as the lips. So, kalau tengok kat gambar tu, dia ada upper lip dengan lower lip yang dipanggil lips. And then the 2 petal make up the upper lips, and then the 3 petal make up the bottom lips. The mouth of corolla is still wide open. And then the second one is personate or mask. The corolla is 2 lips in this case. Dia ada 2 lip juga. Dia sama macam bilobate, tapi untuk personate corolla ni, the mouth is closed by a projection of the lower lips known as palate. The 2 lips are close to each other. And then the third one is ligulate or strap shape. It's called ligulate sebab the corolla is intubular below and is making a short narrow tube and plate above like a strap.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Yazid and I would like to present about aestivation. Aestivation or aestivation is the positional arrangement of the part of a flower within a flower bud before it has opened. There is commonly known 4 types of aestivation. There is valvate, and secondly twisted, imbricate, and vexillary. Next, about valvate. Valvate is when a sepal or petal are arranged in a whorl and they just touch the margin of each other. This may be without overlapping each other. The example of valvate flower type is like a calotropis, tulip, asparagus, and petunia. And next, I would like to tell about twisted. Twisted flower is determined when one margin of each sepal or petal overlap with the next one and the other margin overlap with the previous one. Here the overlapping is normal in one direction, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Dia akan ada sentiasa satu clockwise atau anti-clockwise, dia tak akan bercampur. The example type of flower that had a twisted aestivation like hibiscus, malva, and China rose. Thank you.
Hi everyone, okay, so now I'm going to explain about the third type of aestivation, which is imbricate. In this arrangement, the margins of petals or sepals overlap one another without any specific direction. One of the sepals or petals is internal, which is overlaps on both margins. Then one of them is external, and then each of the remaining petals overlaps at the margin to the next one. For example, of this Aestivation are Gulmohar and Cassia. Okay, so next. Okay, we after learning about twisted and imbricate, we might think that twisted and imbricate aestivation look similar. Are they same or different? Okay, so what is the difference? So actually, it has a difference to each other. For twisted, the margins of appendages overlaps with one another in a specific or particular direction, but for imbricate it does not have any particular direction. So we can see from the diagram of twisted that um, the appendage the appendages overlap with one another, one overlap inside and one outside. It overlap in one direction. It is not particularly anticlockwise or clockwise. It is up to the flower whether it can be clockwise or anticlockwise. It is up to the flower. So it differs from imbricate. If we see from the diagram, one 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 petals is internal, which is it is inside, and there is one we can see that below the right below one it is external. It is the petal is outside, and then the remaining is overlap with one margin to the next one. So for imbricate, it does not have any particular direction. Okay, moving on. Okay, moving on to the last type of aestivation, which is vexillary. So in this arrangement, there are 5 petals, which includes the largest posterior petal, which is called standard, overlaps the 2 lateral petals, which is called wings, which in return, the 2 lateral petals, which is called wings, overlap the 2 smallest anterior petals called keel. So we can see from the purple diagram that the posterior petal or the biggest one is standard, and wings is the middle one, and keel is the inside one. So this vexillary aestivation is also known as papilionaceous, or as because it is also vexillary aestivation is also the feature of Papilionaceae plant family. So the example for vexillary aestivation are bean flower and pea flower. Okay, so that is all from our group presentation. Thank you.